50,000 car bookings is a huge number by any standards for the Indian car industry. But when this number comes to you in a couple of hours, it means only one thing: blockbuster. Yes, this car over here, the Mahindra XUV700, definitely is a blockbuster, not only for the SUV segment but for the entire car industry in India. It has been setting benchmarks, it has been creating records, and these records will remain unbroken for years to come. And even months after the booking was opened, the hype and the demand around this one refuses to die down. Every single day, people out there in the market, they are booking the XUV700 or the XUV700. And this gives birth to a very important question. If you're watching this video and you've booked the car or you're gonna book the car, is it worth waiting for so many months? Is it actually worth all that hype? Well, that is the big question, to which I will be giving you the perfect answer by the end of this video. Now, this isn't your everyday review where I talk like a press release. Why? Because I'm sure by now you would have seen a dozen odd videos talking about the same thing. So, I decided to skip how good the XUV looks in flesh with striking elements, a bold grille, sporty alloys and this shade of red. I also decided to skip how luxurious the interiors seem put together. Simply brilliant for the price segment. Now I want to start our talk with the performance and the driving pleasure. Yes, driving pleasure is something that we usually don't associate with SUVs, but in this case, this has to be the way I want to start my review. The Petrol XUV700 has 200 horses on offer. It's the most powerful SUV in this price segment by a huge margin. And what I'll do is I'll first show you how quick it is in terms of flat out acceleration. If you're going to be buying the Petrol XUV, I'm sure you are an enthusiast. Most of you are enthusiasts, and performance is something that you seek, and that is what I want to show you right away. The 0 to 150 coming up on your screens. 3, 2, 1. Just a bit of wheel spin and pulling hard. 60 already. This thing is quick. 100, 120. So I'll do one thing, I'll shift into manual mode, into 5th. Now let's see. The stability of the XUV is pretty good. It's not terrific, it's pretty good. 5th gear, pulls so hard. Pulls. So you will not believe this. We got a 9-second 0 to 100 run, and this is verified from GPS. 4.2 was 0 to 60 and 8.98 was 0 to 100. Phenomenal. This thing is really super quick. There is so much energy in the engine of the XUV700. The petrol motor is potent. It is more than what you actually need for the price or the size or the segment. And it's not only when you're going flat out on open roads, when the roads demand that you let this vehicle stretch its legs, but also in your daily driving. So right now I am on the Gurgaon Delhi Expressway. It's 5 PM. Traffic is building up slowly. I'm just going with the flow, and this is where, you know, the part throttle response, where you just tap the accelerator pedal and you want that momentum to cover up on a gap. It happens effortlessly. So, you know, plus the magic of petrol engine being so good on NVH levels. So you don't try too hard. There is no sound of the motor or the exhaust, but you end up gaining momentum, you end up gaining speed so rapidly. You have to keep an eye on the speedometer, and this is something that just helps you drive fast effortlessly, not rash, but fast effortlessly. And then the gearbox. This is a torque converter. It is a 6-speed torque converter, not a DCT or a dual clutch or a CVT. And I think traditionally an old school torque converter does the job very well when you have so much power and torque to handle. And it's not lightning quick, but spending the last 2 days with the XUV700 in various terrains, various driving patterns, I don't see a reason to complain. If I do want to take over the gear shifts, just flick the gear lever to the left and you are done. So I'm pretty much happy with the gearbox, and it should suit the Indian environment as well. You know, peak summers in traffic conditions where your engine oil and your gearbox oil, they do start boiling up. This is one area where torque converters definitely have an upper hand. No paddle shifters. I think I do miss them sometimes because again, the performance is so nice that you do want to have control over the steering wheel while shifting gears, not one hand on the gear lever if you want in manual mode. So yeah, paddle shifters, if I could demand, is something I would want from this vehicle from a driver's perspective. Now I am an XUV700 owner, and that vehicle really excelled in terms of your visibility and your daily driving pattern, where you don't feel, you know, that you are in a huge vehicle. It's easy to drive. The vehicle wraps you up very well. This is something that is also seen in the 700. It is a huge vehicle, no doubt, but your visibility, be it the side or the front or the mirrors, everything seems to fall into place. So even if you're graduating from a smaller vehicle to the 700, it will be easy for you in traffic conditions. You will not feel you know, out of place or nervous. So, and this is very essential to give you a fatigue-free drive if you're going to be commuting on a daily basis up and down to office. So yeah, it's easy to handle, and it sort of shrinks the size on the move. So there's something really good as a trait for the 700. Now the higher versions of the 700, they come with the 18-inch alloy wheels. The lower versions have 17-inch alloy wheels. Of course, we have a taller sidewall of the tire on those versions, so the ride is better. This one is not bad at all. In fact, the faster you go, the better it does in terms of absorbing potholes and undulations. This is something I also saw when I was off the road. This is not the all-wheel drive version, but I did take a small tiny trail off the road, and it was apparent that it manages to keep you away from the undulations on the road. Sharp potholes, those small spiky speed breakers, manhole covers, they do get felt. I will not deny that, but again, the composure at high speeds and the confidence at high speeds, the comfort factor of high speeds from 18-inch wheels is commendable to the engineers behind the suspension setup for the XUV. Now in my books, performance is not complete without two important parameters. A is the steering feedback, and B are the brakes. Brakes is something I'm really happy with the XUV. Did perform couple of emergency maneuvers for the camera, of course, and it's responded well. No drama, no rear stepping out, no unwanted movement, and it did stop every time in a straight line the way I wanted. Steering, for those who want a light steering at lower speeds, will be super happy. The older XUV500 had a hydraulic setup. This one is an electric motor, electric power steering, so super light at lower speeds. Of course, those hardcore enthusiasts or old school people who want hydraulic setups for higher speeds, they will miss that thing. I'll not deny that. I had a couple of high-speed runs in the morning when the expressway was completely empty, and those broken stretches, those joints on the roads, I'll admit the XUV700 didn't feel completely planted like, you know, what the Safari does or the Harrier does, but at the same time it was good enough for most people who are going to be cruising at 100, 120. No reasons to complain. Of course, when you hit a set of twisties, again, it remains light. You don't have that enough feedback. But for most buyers, for most people who are waiting for their 700s to be delivered, no reasons to complain. Don't be concerned too much on the dynamics parts. It's sorted. Of course, it's a big vehicle, it's a heavy vehicle, so it will have some kind of roll, but spend a few days and you will be sorted. You will have confidence for sure. Last but not the least, I want to talk about the ergonomics and the seat. In the morning, I'd gone for a almost 200-kilometer run for the highway mileage figures. That's a separate video. It's already gone live on my channel and the link is currently in the description section below. Do have a look, you'll be surprised. So that was a 200-kilometer run towards Greater Noida, towards Agra. Then I went towards the other end of town to Manesar, shooting and I've been up since 6 in the morning. So 11 hours behind the wheel, shooting, talking to you guys and everything, and I am not tired. So this is something I found out in my old XUV as well, the 500. The seats, the ergonomics, the overall driving comfort, even in this one, remains high. So if you're going to be traveling long distances, cross country, you can do this without a worry. Plus the engine is so sorted. You know, 90 kmph in the 6th gear, the engine is sleeping at 1500 rpm. So it basically makes it such a good mild muncher, and definitely looking forward to the diesel as well, because diesels are so much more economical for the pocket in terms of your fuel economy. But this one in the morning, 90, 100, 120, didn't feel bothered at all. So long distances is something that you will definitely love doing in the 700. Now in such traffic conditions, the creep function works very well. Creep as in you lift your foot off the brake pedal and the car will start going ahead. I'm not giving any inputs from the accelerator. At the same time, for red lights, for prolonged stops, you do have the function of auto hold coming in over here. If I press this, auto hold activates from here, and the same can be seen auto hold. So what this does is it will remove the creep function. If you come to a stop and you are still in the drive mode, you can lift off the brake pedal and the car will not move forward because it's auto holding. And of course, the moment you tap the accelerator pedal, it will move ahead. So you can either choose the creep function where you move ahead without any accelerator inputs, or you can choose auto hold, which is good for just standing for a few seconds at a red light where you don't want to be shifting into P every few minutes. So it looks wow, feels rich and drives oh so well. And then the XUV is also a clever, comforting and a supportive four-wheel companion. How? Well, here is how. Open the door and the seat slides back automatically to make your ingress easier. While being chauffeur driven, you can easily slide the front seat ahead. The full DG console has 3 different styles you can pick from. In traffic, if you get too close to a car in front, the XUV brakes automatically and lets you know as well. Likewise, it also shows you any vehicle that may be in your blind spot when you change lanes using an indicator. The door handles, they pop out in a very cool way and pop in back once you cross 8 kmph or lock the doors manually. The sweeping LED indicators, they do remind me of a German brand, but they add to the bling factor. And then the huge super screen that houses an army of features. You also get a 360-degree camera with switchable views. There is also the smart filter technology that promises to remove 99% of bacteria and 95% of viruses. And then the auto booster headlamps that increase the intensity once you cross over 80 kmph. I also love the clever small parking spaces for your phones at the front as well as at the back. So does this mean this one offers every single feature that you and I want in a car that is costing over 20 lakh rupees on road for the higher trims? Well, not really. For starters, no power tailgate. This is now present in the segment. Second, there is no auto dimming inside mirror. Now, when I pay so much of money for my car, I don't want to be manually adjusting the inside mirror at night. Third, ventilated seats. Now this is becoming common in the Indian car industry, but this one does not offer that. And fourth, if my kids are sitting in the last row, there is no provision for roof mounted lights. This was present in the XUV500. And though the middle row isn't slidable as was the case with the XUV500, you can recline the bench like this if you want. And that brings us to the end of the video. Now this is a very rare occurrence in the Indian market, but it has happened in the past that a car model becomes a bigger brand than the manufacturer itself. The XUV500 was one such model. For years it enjoyed a legacy in the market, and I'm happy to say this one picks up from where the XUV500 left. So yes, my question in the starting, is it worth all that hype? Definitely. Is it worth waiting for? Well, in my opinion, a couple of months is not a worry, but if it's 6 months or 8 months or 10 months, you could look elsewhere. But I want to summarize this thing in a simple line. There is nothing else like the XUV700 in the market, especially at this price.